Number 6 on my ranking is Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Yeah, so who'd have thought we'd ever see the day where we're getting a live action Godzilla series? And yeah, Kong has a memorable part near the end too, but the first season mostly revolves around, well, a cast of very interesting human characters and what that has to do with Godzilla. But it all starts off with Godzilla versus the Mutos in 2014, and we get to see the aftermath, which is something that I feel like the movies gloss over. When these two gods, when these warring giant, seemingly indestructible beings of mass destruction go to war, like, not showing the aftermath of what happens to the people, to the cities, to the area after is a huge mistake. And this show touches upon that in a way that I am still in awe of what they did. Because in the aftermath of the events of Godzilla 2014, San Francisco, the city of San Francisco, becomes like a no man's land. All the people have been evacuated. There are still areas that have high radiation. There's so much about this that I find to be both deeply unsettling but also so fascinating. And I do think, like, I'm so happy to see a show that tackles that. Godzilla is, of course, amazing. This is a shot from his, when Godzilla goes through the Golden Gate Bridge. In the movie, the way it's shot in the movie, depicted in the movie, is so much different, though, in the show. The show gives a way different perspective on this. Like, we get to see Godzilla from a different lens instead of from the movie. It's still, scary and terrifying, but you kind of get the impression that Godzilla is just trying to get to, he's trying to do his job. He's trying to go take on the Mutos. He's trying to save the world, restore balance. That's what Serizawa was talking about. But here we see Godzilla from a different perspective. From, I am a tiny little human, and this is just this giant, godlike rage monster, and he is destroying everything and everyone around me. I literally just lost an entire school bus full of children, and you can't help but, after seeing the scene, you can't help but think Godzilla truly is a horrific monster. One thing to remember about the show, though, the main overarching theme is duality. Duality is just, it's literally the glue for the show. Everything that happens, all the characters, their motivations, the things that they do, it comes down to a sense of duality. It's the main catalyst for pretty much everybody. But here we see a trio of characters. We have Shaw, Keiko, and Bill Randa. Bill Randa, by the way, that's this guy. This is John Goodman's character from Kong Skull Island. This is, of course, Bill when he was much younger. Keiko, who's his wife, and Shaw, who plays such a huge role in this entire show. Let me just say that. I love the fact that the young Shaw here is played by Riot Russell, but then later he's played by, the older Shaw is played by Kurt Russell, so father and son both get to work on the same production, and it's great. I love seeing stuff like that. Keiko is my pick for being the best character on the show, by the way, and of course every time these three were on screen and we were seeing the what happened during the 1940s and 50s and 60s with these characters, it was always my eyes were glued to the screen. It's compelling human drama stuff. And then of course in while not exactly the present time, more like this is taking place during 2015, so a year after Godzilla 2014. We follow Mei, Kate Randa, and Kentaro. Kate and Kentaro here are both they're both driven by this trying to find their father, and of course, even though they're brother and sister, they didn't realize that until recently. It turns out their father has been living different lives. Yeah. These three, by the way, generally, I do admit the previous trio, their story arcs, their subplots, I obviously they're more interesting than these three, but I don't want to take from the fact that they're an interesting bunch, and I do like, for example, Kate as a character. By the way, and sorry, I'm running. I gotta remember who. Trying to remember the name of the actress who plays her, Anna Sawai. Anna Sawai, by the way, she's here in the middle. She is an amazing actor. You should totally check out her not only the show Shogun, but her role in that. It's so compelling, and I'm excited to see that she returns in Monarch season 2. I want to address something real quick. I do think one of the things that this show, like as far as like some drama controversy, as far as controversy goes, one of the things, I'm not saying this is my view, I'm actually going to express what I think here in just a second, but one of the things that some people complained about for this show involves Kate's sexual identity. And I just want to say that to the people who thought that they were trying, like the showrunners, the filmmakers, the show was trying to cram her identity down your throats. No, they weren't. Her sexual identity actually had nothing to do with the significance of her as a character, or like I said at the very start, the theme of this show is duality, and the whole point of seeing her, her past and what led to the present moment was her discovering that she's really not that much different than her father, that she and her father mirror each other in ways that she didn't realize. It had nothing to do with her affinity towards other women, whether they had her be straight or gay has absolutely no bearing on her as a character. And every time I would read that or hear that from some people who would talk about like they didn't like this show because they're cramming some woke agenda down my throat. No, that's not what's happening at all. That was not the point. So, pet peeve, just throwing that out there. But anyway. Something else, I mentioned Kurt Russell's Shaw earlier. Yeah, I do love the sense of mystery, how they would be globetrotting the world, Kate is looking for her father, but then finding out more of the mystery behind Monarch. This was a bit difficult at first because going in, if you've already seen like Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of the Monsters, even Godzilla vs. Kong, you kind of feel like, is there really a mystery behind Monarch? And yeah, learning more about the secrets of this, clandestine organization, finding out who the founders were, and like the things that they didn't want the public to know. Like, it turned out it was pretty interesting, and of course, Shaw to me is one of the main interesting movers behind the entire plot. But let's talk about some of the kaiju here. I loved this guy right here. God, he was so cool. I loved how, the whole introduction to the Frostvark, how, they find these pilots who have been frozen solid, and then finding out that they have awakened this pretty rad looking Titan was just so cool. I'm not going to spend too much time here because, again, I want to move on and there's still so much more to discuss, but special shout out to the Frostvark. This guy, I really love this Titan. The design, its powers, abilities, its involvement in the story. But then the next one, the Ion Dragon, this thing is a nasty creature. And all I can say is I loved how it received its comeuppance at the hands of Godzilla. Speaking of whom, seeing this, we kind of saw this in the opening credits of Godzilla 2014, but seeing this play out in the show, kind of, again, it's kind of similar to how Godzilla's attack on the Golden Gate Bridge, depending on perspectives, either you think he's like a hero or you might see him as a villain. Seeing this scene with context added so much more. And like I mentioned, Godzilla vs. the Ion Dragon was the cherry on top. There's more that this show does. It adds a great deal to the Monsterverse, to world building. It adds more that I'm just not going to have enough time to really get into, but I do think it's one of the best additions to the Monsterverse. Absolutely love it. I was kind of pained to place it at number 6. I kind of feel like it's a far greater companion or sequel to Godzilla 2014 than Godzilla King of the Monsters. And yeah, I'm really happy that we're getting a season 2. I think it's coming out sometime next year. Not exactly sure when, but I do know it takes place. A lot of it will be happening on Skull Island, so we get to see Kong. And yeah, I'm very interested in seeing where they